So hi everyone, welcome to the JavaScript interview preparation course chapter 5, and in today's lecture we are going to learn about currying in JavaScript. So first of all, I have opened my HTML index.html file with live server, and we will see some important questions based on currying that are being asked in interviews. So let's start with the topic. So first of all, you must be thinking that what is currying. So currying in JavaScript is a technique where a function is transformed into a sequence of functions, each taking a single argument. So what does it mean that until now how we used to write our function as, let's say, function add a comma b, and let's say we return something, return a plus b, right? Until here we used to write our functions with multiple parameters like this. Now what does currying do is, currying basically convert the let's say convert the function that is written in the form of function a comma b to the function that can be written in the form of function of a comma b. So basically converting a single function which takes multiple parameters into a function that returns a function which again expects another parameter. So the same thing is written here is also that instead of taking all arguments at once, the function takes the first argument and return another function that takes the next argument. Here you can see that instead of taking a comma b as at once, this function is taking first of all a, then the outer function returns another function that accepts another parameter b, and so on until all the arguments are provided. So let's see how we can implement this function using currying. So first of all, you decide to write a function add, then you take argument a, and then this function again returns another function, let's say anonymous function, that takes argument b, and here you can apply your logic as a plus b. Now first of all, let's print the result of our function add with 2 comma 5, right? So let me first comment this out. So here you can see that we are getting the value as 7. So this was the conventional function that we were using until now. So again, if you want to implement the same function using currying, so this is the way. And in order to call this function, you only need to change some way to give parameter to this function as, let's say you first gave 2 and again you gave another parameter 5 that we have given in the previous function. So again here you can see that we are getting the value as 7. So the way we are writing this function is known as curry. And again, you must be thinking that what will this function return if we give a single parameter as 2. So let's see. So if we pass a single parameter 2, you can see here the value of a is 2, and this function is returning another function which again takes another parameter b as input. So you can see here, if we are passing only a single parameter, that function is returning another function. Here you can see that on the console, that takes b as parameter and return a plus b as value. So this way of writing a function is known as currying. So this was the basic concept of currying. So now let's mark it as done and move to the next topic. So you must be thinking that why we use currying. So interviewer can ask you this question, that why do we use currying? So the first reason is reusability. What does it mean? That curried function can be reused with some arguments pre-filled. For example, let's take this function here. So this is a multiply function which takes a as parameter, and this function is returning another function which again take b as parameter and return the multiplication of the two parameters. So let's see that what here we are doing that. First of all, make it bigger screen. So here you can see that first of all we are calling the function multiply with a single parameter that we had called also in the previous function we saw in the addition, and then again this function will return another function. So let's print the value that is stored in the double. So the double stores a function that takes b as parameter and returns a cross b. So and again, if you call this double function with another parameter 5, you can see that we are getting 10 as value. The same thing is happening with Again, this is the similar example. So, so what you can see here that we pre-applied multiplier of 2. What does it mean? That while finally returning the value of the multiply, we already had the returned value of the multiply function with parameter 2. So I discussed here that current functions can be reused with some arguments pre-filled. Here 2 is already filled in this function, right? Then again, when multiply function returned a function, then we again passed a parameter 5 and getting the output as 10. So in this way, we can improve the reusability of the current function. So let me comment this out. So now the second application of current function can be, it makes code more declarative and easier to understand in functional programming context. For example, let's say you have a function print, right? And you are passing multiple arguments as a, b, c, d, and there are many arguments like this, right? So obviously, if you are going to perform some operation inside this function, it's making your code complex, right? And not easy to understand. Instead of doing this, passing multiple parameter in the same function, what you can do, you can use currying and pass single parameter in a single function, uh, that will return another function which will again expect another parameter and will return the computed value to the next function. So this was the application of the currying. Now let's move to some important questions that can be asked in interview. So the first question is, implement this sum 261, right? So how you will implement this at the first go? So conventionally, we can implement this in this manner. Let's say function sum, and you declare three parameters for this, and basically you are returning a plus b plus c, right? And when you call this function sum with parameter, let's say 1, 2, 3, you will definitely get 6 as your output, right? Here you can see that you are getting 6 as output. And if your interviewer says that implement this function using currying, right? So how you can do this, that let's say you declare a function add here, you pass the first argument, then this function will return another function. uh, okay, let me return this first. Return function anonymous which takes b as parameter, and again this returns, okay, another function which takes c as parameter, and at the end it returns the computed value of the sum, right? So this is the way you call the curried function. And if you want to call this, let's call this in a curried way. Let's say you give first 1 as parameter, then 2 as parameter, then 3 as parameter. Now you can see here that we are getting 6 again, right? So this is the way you can utilize currying for implementing this question. Again, you must be thinking that what can be the depth of this recursive function return. So basically the depth of the function, or you can say number of function declaration, will depend upon your number of parameters that you are passing. Here you are passing 3 parameters, and again you are returning here, again you are writing here 3 functions calls, right? So it depends upon your number of parameters. So in this way you can answer this question. Now another question here is that, let's say you have to implement a function which take multiple arguments such as sum, multiply, divide, subtract, and if you are providing sum, then it must be adding these parameters, and if you are providing multiply parameter, it must be multiply these two parameters. In the same way, divide and subtract. So how you can do this? So the implementation of this question is very simple. Let's say you declare a function evaluate, right? And you are taking operations as parameter. Now this function will return another function, return function which will take a as parameter, and this again will return another function which will take b as parameter, and it will check if your operations is equal to sum, then it will return a plus b. Else, if your operations is equal to multiply, let me copy this. then it will return A cross B, right? So now let's copy this out. Else if operation is divide, so it will basically return A by B, and if your operation is subtract, so it will basically return A minus B. Else what you can do is, else if no operations belongs to this 4, then you will basically return an string as invalid operation. So now let's call this function evaluate with sum as parameter, and again you may pass the value that you want to add as 4 then 2, and let me console this out. So here you can see that we are getting 6 as our output, right? Again, let's say if you are passing multiply here, so you will see that we are getting 8 as our output. So let's say we provide something or some operation that does not belong to this question. Let's say we pass something else. So here you can see that we are getting invalid operation as our output. So this was the way you could have implemented this question if it has been asked in your interview. So let me comment this out. Now let's come to the final question, and I'm telling that this is the most important of this topic, most important question of this topic. So let's understand this in a better way. This is called infinite currying. If your interviewer says that implement this infinite currying function, what does it mean by infinite currying? So basically in the above questions, what we saw that we were basically passing the limited number of parameters here 2, and the above question we had passed 3 parameters here, right? So now if there are infinite number of parameters, so how we will implement that sum function, right? So for this, let's simply define a function sum, right? That will take the first parameter as its input, and it will return another function that will take b as its input, right? So now for implementing this infinite currying, here you will have to provide a condition that if there is b, then what you will do, you will basically return again with the pre-computed value of the given parameter, right? And if there does not exist any b, then you will simply return a, right? So what does it mean here that let's say a is 1 here, right? You pass a, then it returns another function that will take b as parameter. If b is there, that is 2, right? So 2 is here, it will check if 2 is present, then it will return a plus b, that is 1 plus 2, that is 3. So it will returning 3, and again 3 will come here. So again, if it will check return another function that will take b as parameter, if it will check that does any parameter exist after 3, if that exists, then it will again return the 3 plus that parameter. Else there is no parameter after 3, then it will basically return the computed value as 3 here, right? So let's print this out and check for the solution. Let's say you are calling this with some 2, 3, then 4, then 5, then 6, then 7. At last, let's end this call, right? So here you can see that we are getting actually 27 as output. So what's happening here is that first of all you pass 2 as parameter, right? Then the value of this function call will return another function that will accept b as its parameter. So it will check if b exists, that yes, b here is 3 and it exists. So it will return a plus b. So 3 plus 2 will be returned here. So what is 3 plus 2? It is 5. Now it will return another function that will take b as parameter and will check is there any parameter exist after that. So 4 exists. So 4 exists, then what it will do, it will return the previous computed value plus 4. So what it will return, 5 plus 4 is 9. Again 5 plus 9 plus 6 is 15, and then 15 plus 7 is 22, right? So at the end, here will be 27 at the place of a. Now this will return another function b, and here you can see that there is nothing at the place of b, right? So it will check if there is b, so there is no b, so else it will return the computed value that is a, that is 27. So here you can see that we are getting the computed value as 27. So this was the implementation of this question, and I think it must be slightly boring for you, but if you will watch this video again and try to understand what I have explained in this video, we will definitely get to know what I am trying to explain. So this was all about currying, and we also discussed some important questions based on currying that interviewer can ask you in the JavaScript interview. So prepare these questions and these topics. It will definitely help you to ace your interview question. So that's all in this video, and let's meet in the second video with another topic. And I hope you must have learned something new in this video also. So thank you.